DA's office says that those Fall River police officers were allowed to enter the apartment. Anthony Harden and his twin brother were inside. Moments later, Anthony Harden would be dead, and tonight the grieving family is demanding answers.
I'm lost for answers and questions like everyone else. That's why I'm standing here today. I want to find out what's going on. And my nephew should not be dead today.
The uncle of 30-year-old Anthony Harden says his family needs answers after Fall River police shot and killed the man Monday night in his home on Melville Street. Bristol District Attorney Tom Quinn says Fall River police arrived at Harden's apartment just after 6 o'clock last night. They were investigating a domestic assault allegation after his girlfriend called police yesterday saying he attacked her on Saturday.
Sisters got it good, man. Well, let me check that. This is son, man, so we don't know if it's a sister. You women in America got it good. All of you, regardless of orientation, ethnicity, all of you, classism, regardless of where you stand on the pecking order or the totem pole or the perceived totem pole, you women in America got it good. She called the day before and reported that he hit her last week. And they came the next day. Like, we didn't forget. Wow. Now, don't get me wrong. There are always issues with this situation, as we saw with Zach Stacy and his Glide S, his Glacier Glide S. She went to the cops 3 times. And they, told her to kick rocks. However, this stuff happens so much. And there's so many instances of this stuff. Relationships. I've been through it. A lot of you guys in the chat have been through. Hit 1 if you've been through a domestic incident where the cops were called. I've called the cops on my wife, the woman I'm married to now. I've called the cops on her twice. Once they came, once they didn't. When they came, they locked both of us up. First time I did it, which was years before the second time I did it, the cop hung up on me. He didn't take me seriously because I'm a guy. The second time, they locked both of us up. I've been there. And then I've also had them called on me by women. So I know the deal. This is a terrible situation, but the fact that you live in a country, I'm telling you, I promise you, in the third world, women, sisters, it don't work like this, man. This is a family issue. This ain't none of nobody's business. Okay? The police officers, even the police officers, it ain't none of their business. That's in the home. You don't get involved in that type of stuff.
Needs answers after Fall River police shot and killed the man Monday night in his home on Melville Street. Bristol District Attorney Tom Quinn says Fall River police arrived at Harden's apartment just after 6 o'clock last night. They were investigating a domestic assault allegation after his girlfriend called police yesterday saying he attacked her on Saturday. There was a struggle inside the apartment between Harden and police, and 2 shots were fired by an officer, striking Harden.
There's no reason why he should be dead, shot, with 2 officers in a bedroom. How wide is that area? He did not have a gun.
Now, what he said absolutely makes no sense, but this is a grieving man. So he's a family member. So you give him that leeway to say things that make absolutely no sense and have nothing to do with what the reality on the ground when cops enter a home during a domestic situation. It's just when basketball players, and had this been an election year, this would have definitely picked up steam. No one cares now. But say this was 2020 or 2024, and our suit-clad friend here was plastered all over the CNN and MSNBC screens and Twitter hashtags and yada, yada, yada. People with degrees, people with master's degrees, people with fancy titles at universities, people on TV, as allegedly journalists, would be parroting the things this guy said and using it as just hardcore evidence that this had something to do with racism.
There's no reason why he should be dead.
There was a struggle inside the apartment between Hardin and police, and 2 shots were fired by an officer, striking Hardin.
There's no reason why he should be dead. Shot. With 2 officers in a bedroom. How wide is that area? He did not have a gun.
Initial information indicates that a knife was present at the scene of the altercation.
Okay, a knife. Now, we saw that with Jacob Blake. Had this been an election year, that wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have even mattered if they had body cam, if someone had recorded with their cell phone. One thing we've learned about the Rittenhouse trial is that if you're on the opposite side of the left, which a cop most certainly is, anyone using self-defense laws or two-way, a cop, anything like that, you're on the opposite side of the left. So, it wouldn't matter if you had video. Video doesn't matter now. So in this case, we don't have video. I'm sure they're going to have a body cam soon, but it doesn't matter. So what, he had a knife? When it's come to glacier gliders, y'all know how to de-escalate. How come y'all de-escalate? And everybody acts like they've taken, they got data on every single police stop, or every single domestic violence incident, or every single police interaction. When it come to glacier gliders, y'all always find a way to de-escalate. But when it come to us, y'all just automatically shoot.
Initial information indicates that a knife was present at the scene of the altercation.
This afternoon, State and Fall River police were canvassing the neighborhood as they continue their investigation. For Anthony Hardin's family and friends, the results of the investigation cannot come quickly enough, and the eventual answers may not be enough.
They could have called them out the room into the kitchen so everything can be visualized of what's going on. Behind closed doors, who know what happened?
The district attorney's office says both of the officers involved were also taken to the hospital, as is department protocol in cases like this. Reporting live in Fall River, Todd Kiskiewicz, WCVB.
Fall River man shot and killed by police is looking for answers tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Ritis Rodriguez.
I'm Paula Eben. Yesterday, officers went to the apartment of Anthony Hardin to talk with him about a weekend domestic incident, but minutes later, he was dead. WBZ's Beth Germano went to Fall River to speak with Hardin's brothers, including his twin, who say they just want to know what happened.
This is just a reflection of who Anthony really is or was.
Family members holding a self-portrait of 30-year-old Anthony Hardin, describing their brother as an artist, a writer, and a free thinker.
Was misunderstood. And what happened to him was not justified.
Hardin was shot and killed by a Fall River police officer Monday night inside his Melville Street apartment. 2 officers had come to question him about an assault charge from a woman they say was his girlfriend, an assault that allegedly happened last Saturday.
It doesn't make any sense why you show up in regards to a situation that happened 2 days ago and it escalates to a young man dying. How does that make sense?
The district attorney says there was an altercation inside the apartment, and at some point, 2 shots were fired by an officer.
Initial information indicates that a knife was present at the scene of the altercation.
Family members acknowledge Anthony Hardin had some run-ins with the law, but they say he was not a violent or aggressive individual.
You know what? A lot of people, that's common, okay? So you have your family member who's getting arrested for this, arrested for that, this crime, that crime, and we know how these guys' rap sheets look. It's all types of stuff on these guys' rap sheets, okay? Before they do the big one, you know, that gets them locked up for a long period of time. They keep doing these little, not little things, but things because they're sunmen that, you know, in the criminal justice system, they kind of expect sunmen to do these things, so, you know, whatever. But there's all types of crimes on there. And the family's like, well, you know, he's nice to us. Well, okay, great. You're his brother. You're his aunt. You know, you're his grandmother. Okay, yeah, he didn't pistol whip you during a carjacking. Because you're his uncle. You know? He didn't push you down the flight of stairs during a robbery. You're his grandmother. But other people who encounter your loved one who's, you know, had some issues with the law. Because, you know, whenever they sanitize it like that, you know, he's got a rap sheet longer than the CVS receipt. But other people who encounter your loved one, they meet a different person than the person at the Thanksgiving table sitting across from you. And you have to be aware of that. Okay? Have some perspective. Have some, you know, thoughtfulness. It's borderline gaslighting. To know your loved one is out here getting arrested, you know, a lot for crimes, and they say, well, he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't violent. Well, yeah, okay, to you. But what about everybody else?
Family members acknowledge Anthony Hardin had some run-ins with the law, but they say he was not a violent or aggressive individual. And now they want answers about why police opened fire.
With everything that's going on in the world, another young black man shouldn't die in his home, defenseless.
Well, brother, what's really going on in the world? What do you mean everything that's going on in the world? What's going on in the world is sunmen killing other sunmen. And occasionally, a sunman gets killed by a cop. Because there's so many interactions. There's infinitely more interactions between sunmen and cops and other groups. They try to say, well, you know, some men make up 13% of the population. They're disproportionately killed by cops. Well, if you just take the raw numbers, yes, I see that. But when you dig just a little bit deeper, which the left never does, which liberals never do, and I know this brother's struggling with this, and I'm not addressing him. I'm addressing his words, his sentiments, his argument. If you adjust for interactions, which sunmen had infinitely more interactions with police than gliders, there's no way in the world there should be more gliders killed by cops. There's just no way. It shouldn't even be close. it should be probably 1/10 of the number of Sun people. Gliders getting killed by cops should be 1/10 of the number of Sun people killed by cops. If you go by interactions, yet their numbers double ours. So there's nothing going on in the world. It's all CNN and MSNBC and Twitter and Facebook crap. Lies. There's nothing going on out in the world. There's no thing going on. It's all lies.
With everything that's going on in the world, another young black man shouldn't die in his home, defenseless.
The DA will only say it's an ongoing investigation, while his twin brother points to this portrait as the way they want Anthony Hardin to be remembered.
He was very passionate, and this is going to be just the image that I want to be seen for Anthony.
While they have more questions than answers. In Fall River, Beth Germano, WBZ News.